including children.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a
And now
lot.
I do have a heart for like kids that's at alternative education, but just hadn't had the opportunity to get into those school systems yet that serve kids in alternative education.
Done. I think she telling we live. Hold on for a second.
Okay.
We're gonna go on mute.
All right.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my God. Thank you, Jesus.
Yes.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay. Woo! I have no idea what I did. My apologies, but so please forgive me. But welcome to Table Talk with the Diva, and I am Arthur Pierre Collins, and I am so excited and delighted to have you amazing fathers on the platform. You see how the devil does. He is always coming for me because he know I won't stop until I figure it out. But anyway, here we go. So thank you so much, and I want to welcome Don Williams and also the amazing Christopher Pugh to the platform. How are you gentlemen doing today?
Doing fine, doing fine. Thank you for having us on.
Absolutely. Okay. Can you hear me? Let me see who was speaking. Who was speaking?
Oh, that was me, Don Williams.
Okay, Christopher, can you hear us? Christopher, check your mic. I hear you moving around. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, well, how are you this evening?
I'm doing well, doing well. Good to see you all this evening. Thank you for the invitation.
Great. Absolutely. Thank you so much. You are so welcome. Thank you guys for riding the waves and hanging in there. I'm not sure what happened, but I'm not going to waste any more time. But we are moving forward. And so, again, welcome to Table Talk with the Diva. And I always say that the delay is never a denial because God has set an appointment time for us here, and we are going to get the show rolling. So, guys, I need you to tag your friends, your fathers, your brothers, your cousin, them, Ray, Pookie. We want everybody on the platform this evening. I have two amazing fathers that are on the platform that are here to share and just deposit some love and inspiration and empowerment into your life. So if you have a guy that is important to you, ladies, I need you to get them on the platform, get them on the line tonight. Put them in the living room, give them something cold to drink so we can move forward because these gentlemen is going to chat with me for a little bit. So we're excited. So guys, I always start off with a icebreaker. And normally I will give you one word and you give me one word. So whatever it is, the first thing that comes to your mind that comes up, comes out. Okay, Don, we're going to start with you. I'm going to say opposition.
What was the word again?
Opposition.
Victory.
Come on, man. What you say?
I like that.
I'm finna write it down. I need to remember what I'm saying. Come on here. All right, Mr. Christopher, you up next. What's up? What's up? Your word. Denial.
Oh, opportunity.
There, there you have it. I'm loving it. Okay. Last but not least, I'm gonna give the both of you. I'll say destiny.
Purpose.
There we
I
go.
would say, I would say mandatory.
Mentor. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. Got it. Destiny, purpose, and mandatory. I love it. I love it. All right, guys. Well, we are going to be chatting a little bit because the theme is saluting amazing fathers. Alexa, lower your volume. Had it on what I wanted. Anyway, we're going to start. So we're talking this month, of course, and I say this is jubilant, joyful June that we are in, and so we are blessed to be in another June because last year this time, myself, my family, and I'm sure you all was experiencing a very difficult season with the pandemic that happened and life continued to move and it was dark and gloomy and all that good stuff, all that. So we went through that, but I look at how amazing God has continued to be. He's consistent and he's very, very on point when it comes to anything. And so here we are with another June, new beginning, opportunities, a new day, new season. I'm just so excited about it. So I'm so excited about that. And I wanted to just kind of share the highlights of just being a father. So you can share. Um, I always like this because I was telling Jim this last week, which was an amazing platform as well. I had someone from the cohort and my brother. It was a few other men, but it was amazing platform, like such as yourself. And what I asked them, what do you think? What is your take on do real men cry? because I was in the store and I saw this man. He was yelling at the little boy. The little boy had to have been about 6 or 7 years of age, and he was saying, shut up, stop acting like a little girl. You ain't no girl. Stop crying. And I'm looking at him, so I was getting irritated. And I was like, Lord, right on my tongue, let me go on because it really ticking me off. And I wanted to kind of step in and give him a little business, but I was like, this is ridiculous. So I wanted to just ask. So that has been my question all month. Do real men cry? What's your take on that, Christopher?
Well, biologically, yes. Like, I mean, I have this. When I talk to kids and especially young men across the country,
Absolutely.
um, real men cry before they make the most horrible decision ever. Because if you don't cry, put it like this, I tell people, men are going to cry. You either cry before you make the bad decision or after. I'd rather you cry before the bad decision so you can calm down and get some sense, get your senses. And a lot of people don't understand manhood and fatherhood and just humanity. Crying is there for a reason because you're releasing toxins. So guess what happens? If you make decisions without releasing toxins, your decision will be toxic. So what a lot of people don't understand, yes, real men cry. You got to in order to fulfill your purpose on this planet to give provision, protection, sustenance, resources, logic, reason. You can't do it emotionally imbalanced. And everybody gets calmer after they get finished crying. You take that deep breath and now you know what to do because you got that cry out. That cry is there for a reason. If you wasn't supposed to cry, you wouldn't be able to.
Mhm.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. So crying is definitely a cleansing, and God created our tears, so they are for a purpose. So I totally agree with that. Mr. Don, what is
Oh,
your that? Do real men cry? And men,
oh, oh, absolutely. I am a crier. And I when you when you said that, I was just thinking about a training I was doing just the other day with some men that had been recently released from incarceration, and we was just kind of doing a round table discussion and just talking about everything that kind of go on behind the wall and the emotions that we have to deal with, whether it's childhood trauma or just experiences in life that we've made. And I made the point that I told him, I said, man, sometimes in order to move past what you've been through, it's cool just to break down and cry. I mean, I've had my greatest loads lifted just by pulling away and crying, because as men, as us being the head of the household, we're making sure that our wives and our children are taken care of. But even as men out in the world trying to make our way and carrying the weight of what all we have to deal with from day to day, sometimes, just to make sure that we are present for those that we love and care for, we have to release. And I find it sometimes just to pull away and cry, and
mm,
then I'm able to face whatever challenges are next and be able to give myself away to those that I'm responsible for caring for. So yes, I'm a real man, and I'll cry at a drop of a hat if I need to.
I
Facts.
love it. I love it. I love it. That is so true. Because I saw my dad cry on numerous occasions, and this is before he gave his life back to Christ, um, and then even after the fact, but definitely more so after once he got back in alignment with his with God and his salvation when he gave his life back to God. And so I began to see certain things happen as growing up as a little girl. And so my dad would sit there, and I mean, I sometimes get to talking about just God's goodness, and he's crying, and I'm looking
Yeah.
like, hey, what you crying for? Teenager, and I didn't understand it as I grew up and got older. I saw that, and then it became like, wow, well, I guess men do cry. And so when that's the other day when the gentleman was yelling at the baby, I'm thinking you need to talk to my dad because he would check you all the way. He would get you all the way together. Because real men do cry, and it's okay. Again, God created our tears, and so they are for a purpose. And I agree, it is a cleansing, and so definitely need to be present in the moment. And so I was telling my husband, I said, you know, I want to express about him. I said he's strong, but yet he's sensitive because he is a real man. And so he'll let you know, I heard like you heard.
Yeah.
You know, something affects me and it may affect me differently. But yes, I do. That's a part of sometimes how I respond. And most of the time he tries to hide it and, you know, go in the room or whatever. But he, you know, I've seen him cry several times. And so 26 years of marriage, you know, I say real men do cry. Real men cry.
For
So
sure.
thank y'all for that. Appreciate it. Some guys are so, but you know, again, I think they had to really come into are because it's you know, I don't really get emotional and you know I'm a real man's man. It's like no, you're not if you're not sharing and expressing your feelings till sometimes you do have to cry. And like you said, it's better to cry before you make bad decisions or irrational decisions that will cause a different outcome. But if you maybe cry and get thoughts, you know, in alignment, then you may not have to endure some of the things you would if you had done it before.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. I agree with that. So, how many years have you been a father, Don?
Oh, my oldest daughter is 33.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. You have how many children you have? Your father
So
of
me and my wife, we have 6 daughters and 1 son. The oldest is 33, and our son is 12. So we've got 33, 31, 29, 26, 22, and then at home is a 14-year-old girl and 12-year-old son. So
wow.
we've been at this thing for a little minute.
So tell me a little bit about who. Tell the viewers a little bit who Don is because we started off with the technical difficulties. So please forgive me for that because normally I would say introduce yourself and it just hit me like, okay, I need to hear a little bit about them and the viewers know who they're talking to. Of course, you two are definitely considered experts because you are fathers with experience. I definitely want them to know who you are. So tell them a little bit who.
All right. Well, my name is Don Williams. I own a company called P7 Solutions where we provide coaching and personal and professional development for individuals or organizations that serve men and women coming out of prison, or whether it's an organization that serves those that's returning back to society from homelessness or from drug addiction. That's something that's real dear to my heart. For one, I've spent time behind the fences, so I can definitely understand the challenges that men and women face coming home from prison. But I also had a brother that OD'd from drugs, so my heart is very drawn to those with drug addiction and really seeing them to overcome the drug addiction. My brother had been clean for 8 years, and he wound up losing his job and went back to drugs after being clean for 8 years and OD. So that's kind of my life. When I wake up every day, is to serve that population or whoever God puts in my path for that particular day. So my motto is I wake up just to give myself away.
On.
Yeah,
How admirable is that? I love that. That is absolutely beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Wow. And so you're a father of six, you said. So
seven,
six,
six
seven.
girls and 1 son.
Wow.
Yes,
Okay. And
ma'am.
so by the opposite because he's the father of 8 boys and 1 girl.
Wow,
Okay. Yeah,
a lot of
exactly.
testosterone.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Oh my God. Oh my God. But Mr. Christopher Pugh, tell the viewers a little bit about who Christopher is and what it is that you do. What's your passion?
All right, I'm Mary Christopher Pugh. I'm the owner and consultant of Manhood Mindset. And Manhood Mindset, we actually provide with the people in our target audience serve anyone with a heartbeat, men, women, children, people who used to be children, people who are adults, elders, anybody with a heartbeat that wants to serve their community and communicate a little bit better with the people in their lives. So I work mainly in schools, universities, and organizations. However, I'm also serving families with being a mediator and a cross cultural communicator. What a lot of people may not understand is you can be a part of the same family and have several different cultures, just like what Don was talking about. He has a total of 7 children, correct, Don?
Yes, sir.
Right. So they can grow up in the same household, but you may have 7 different cultures in that same one household, right? So what I
Yes.
talk about is cross-cultural communication within families as well. So I talk about social emotional learning, not only emotional intelligence, but also body and versus verbal language. So a lot of times, a lot of people know how to interpret body language, but they don't know how to communicate with their bodies as well. So facial expressions, eye contact, looking like you're bored, looking like you're not attentive. A lot of people interpret that body language, and they've been interpreting that body language for years, and it actually provides a lot of tension in families that a lot of people didn't know about. So they've been reading each other, but they haven't been telling each other what they've been reading. So it's a lot of social emotional learning, conflict resolution skills, and overall cross communication skills between all members of humanity. So that's pretty much what I do with Manhood Mindset. It started off as a radio show. I do comedy. I write comedy. And I did a little acting. I'll probably get back into it as well. But right now, I'm an instructor at Georgia Southern University. I teach diversity in the educational context, and I help people understand historically what we're dealing with, not just emotionally what we're dealing with and socially. So yeah, we're going to talk about everything we're dealing with politically, but politics has a history. A lot of people don't know it.
Come on, truth. Tell the truth. Wow. And you are a father of.
I am biologically, I'm a father, hopefully in the near future, we're planning on it. You know what I mean? That's what we're working on right now. So, but I would say socially and in mentoring and in my passing, I've served as father figures for countless human beings based off of what I've been told. So, and that's the reason why I had several father figures in my life, not just one. My biological father, he was amazing, but I had so many other father figures that played their role and allowed me to learn from them along the way. And what I wanted to do is give what I was given. And a lot of children, parents, teachers, administrators, just people overall have benefited from what I received as a child.
That is awesome. Awesome. There was another gentleman that was on last week, and he was saying, well, he wasn't a biological father, but school teacher, and so he mentors, and so definitely it's not always about being the biological parent, because we father and mother. As for myself, I have two daughters, but I have a lot of goddaughters that I've adopted. They've adopted me, and I say, my God, like where did they all come from? But just living and trying to be that example on a positive note for them. And so you guys have powerful stories, but I'm so glad to hear, because we're in the same cohort. We all have the same coach that is training and guiding, helping us position ourselves in our purpose. So elated to be a part of that, and just to know, hear what you guys have going on, because we're in training, but not really knowing, getting to know each other, on a personal level with everything that you have going on. So that is really powerful to hear. Um, so I thank you guys for sharing that. So definitely, as a parent or a father figure, I guess I will say that, because again, I know that you don't have a biological, but as far as guiding. So what are some tools that you think that is very important in the role as a father? I would ask Mr. I'll start with you, Christopher. I'll start with you. What are some things that you can, as far as how you mentor, or just even just being there, just being that light? I would say that just being the light for a young man that that maybe watching you without.
Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What was the last thing?
I was saying that maybe watching you or mentoring
Right.
without even really knowing that you're doing that. A lot
Mhm.
of times I always say that my life has to be the Bible. For
Mhm.
many women, girls from the strip club, my background, that may never go to church, and so I had to really get that people are always watching, and you never know who's watching, or you never know if you're really making a difference. And so then when I get the testimonies or a conversation, I'm thinking, well, I didn't know she was really watching me. But she that I said that stuck her or really hit her in the gut, and then she's going like, wow, I would never know that you went through that, because I went through the same thing, or I am going through that. So if you can kind of maybe share a little bit of maybe some things that you try to be cognizant about or helpful, and how you're mentoring other people, because they may not just be young adults. It's just category young adults, but just anyone.
I would say the key to my mentoring is I always think laughter is the key to learning. as soon as you laugh, the brain activates. So if you're funny or at least start laughing at something, other people want to know what's funny. So if I'm laughing or smiling or laughing at something, kids are going to ask me, "What are you laughing at?" And that's how the conversation usually starts. Um, Fatherhood and manhood, the characteristics of that is being approachable. A lot of people don't understand manhood and fatherhood because we see so many different arguments and conversations across the board about what it means. And based off the conversations I've been hearing in the last 30 some odd years, people still trying to figure it out. So when I see people still trying to throw their experiences a lot and try to define it, one thing I find that's the reason why I named it manhood mindset is you may not have the answer, but you need to have your mind set on what it could possibly be. And whatever you put out in the atmosphere, just live up to your creed. Whatever that manhood means, be consistent, be transparent, be honest, be truthful, but be you. What a lot of people don't understand is manhood is specific to every person who was assigned that who was given that assignment. My manhood looks different from Don's physical assignment on this earth. You know what I mean? So how he portrays his manhood is dependent on his earthly assignment and his environment. So me even trying to be like Don and Don trying to be like me, that may be a violation of the manhood that we were specifically given. So it's not manhood is not cookie cutter. Manhood is based off what you're supposed to be doing, what your specific responsibilities are, and not only that, your challenges, because manhood is also about how you fail in front of people so they can learn.
Yeah.
How are you going to courageously approach your assignment, regardless of what people think about you? So the people who are afraid to fail, they can look at you and say, you know what? He didn't die. He didn't waver. He didn't ghost out on us. Maybe I can do it now that I've seen it. So manhood has a lot of courage. It has a lot of I would say belief in oneself without the need to be validated. I think manhood it has the ability to stand alone and be alone together at the same time. And I'm gonna be brief when I say this. Manhood is I would say manhood and truth are lonely sports. Usually when you're expressing them, you are going to be by yourself. And I would say if you are not necessarily comfortable, but if you're in tune with your isolation, manhood is yours.
Absolutely. I totally agree because that's what character is built alone, not in front of the masses, but alone. And I agree with that. That is you a bad boy. Listen, I'm listening. I'm loving it. I
Thank you.
am loving it. Awesome. Yeah, yeah. Not a boy per se, but
I know what you mean.
uh,
I took it as love. It's love. It's all love.
that boss up. I love it. That is so important. Definitely when you comfortable and when you said something just now about just being comfortable even in your family. And so it took me some years to get there. So now it's like they think it's like off the chain, or she's too cocky, or she's too confident, or she's too this. I am happy being me. I am authentic. I believe in being transparent. And I mean, for me, that is the only way that I'm able to overcome because I had to face my fears, face my doubts, and shut down that inner chatter and just deal with me before I could even get to want to share and try to help somebody else. So it takes that. And so, a lot of times, so my word for the week was not was, but is, because it's over yet, but courage, having courage to be you because everybody doesn't have that and they don't get that. And I'm saying that's part of being transparent. You may misspell words or you mispronounce words or you may do whatever it is your shortcomings are. Be okay with it. You work on it, but be okay where you are in the moment. You can't try to live for everybody else and you missing in action because you hiding behind whatever and you pretend to be one thing or somebody else on social media, but then at home you act like a nice word. This I was about to come out. But anyway, you want to just be authentic, and that is just so important to me to just be who you are and just let it fall where it may. But thank you for that. I received everything that you said. So, Mr. Don, we're coming for you. We're coming for you. What's your take on it?
Well, I have two tips or tools that I use that has been real effective, and that's an open line of communication and transparency. So I'm always with my kids or anyone that I'm mentoring. I always want to keep that open line of communication to let them know that it's nothing so bad that they've ever done that'll make me look at them any different, because for one, I either done it, or two, I done thought about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then just being transparent with others to let them know that, just because we're in certain positions doesn't mean that we haven't experienced some challenges in our life or not flawed in one way or another. And I've learned by being transparent, I'm able to connect with others on a real deep level, and letting them know that, hey, you might be in the trenches now, but hey, I'm down here with you, and we can walk hand in hand on your way out. So just having an open line of communication where we can discuss anything within a no judgment zone, and then just being transparent about the good, the bad, the ugly in my own life, to let them know that, yeah, you right there now, but you don't have to stay there.
I have to stay there. Wow, that's good. That is true. That's real talk, right? That's right, because we have seasons, we all have a different journey. And again, whatever, for me, I always say, whatever the cards were dealt, and I would always say this, that I was blindsided. In my heart, I felt like I was blindsided with some things from coming from home, from Charleston to Atlanta, and I'm one way, and all of a sudden, I became this other person. I'm thinking, well, dang, I didn't even know that she existed. She was down in there. But
Hmm.
again, I ran my race and found myself caught up in some things. And I'm just like, okay, God. But then when I speak to women now, I let them know, you don't have to stay there. And I can share my past failures and mistakes and everything, because again, that doesn't define who I am today. But again, I had to grow. Whatever it is that God put before me, whatever will sit there. I tell them, run your race, do your thing, run your race at your pace, but stay in your lane. You don't have to try to compete with anybody. And so again, being transparent about who you are today, you know,
Hmm.
when you are, it happens. But if you're living a lie, then you're never going to get where you're supposed to be. So
That's right.
thank you for that. 'Cause transparency is key. It is key, man. So I love that. So as far as being, how do you? And I always, because of course we're in the Black Lives Matter, and of course all lives matter. I believe, but Black lives do matter. Men is very important. And I always say that y'all have so much to say, um, and that your words hold so much weight in my life, in my eyes. I have four brothers and my dad, and I got like 17, 18 nephews, and so men is all around, and I just love men, and I know that it just doesn't work. It takes both of us to make it. And so my husband and I, we are in agreement that we are a team. He's no greater or no higher than I, and I'm never greater or higher than him. We are, so we work and we walk hand in hand together. But it's like I can't make it without him, and he knows he can't make it without me. So so your voices are so valuable, and so I always let them know, if no one has said it today, then Arthur P. Collins, the diva with the destiny, is sharing that. In your life have told, but your lives matter, and you have so much value. And so Coach has this, his mentor fathers not further, and I love that. And I'm just like, I thought about it, and he said, yeah, because some of them are present, but they're not there, adding anything of value to your life or to the lives of who they're supposed to be making, a difference in. So I hear that you all are an amazing man, and just talking to you all, it's a blessing to be able to hear you share some insight on just being a father or a mentor, a leader, or all that. So your passion, now you expressed, Don, about your past and how you came into the passion of why you feel like you feel. Um, and I could have missed something with Christopher. Christopher, what led you to your passion?
Um, the path that I was set on as a kid, I always tell people all the time, I saw entirely too much, but I saw what I was supposed to see.
Hmm.
Um, so, and I mean that
Good
in a
answer.
joking way, huh?
I say good answer.
Yeah, I saw it entirely. I saw it, you know, and I was when I was in certain places, and I'm like, man, I'm pretty sure I'm not supposed to be here. so, so, like, you know, but it was a lesson in every place that I ended up at. And I will put like this: like, no matter what I saw, it didn't stop me from being here today. That's what I hang my hat on. You know, I saw a lot of pain. I experienced pain, but I witnessed more pain that I experienced, but that also made me experience it, if that makes any sense. So I was surrounded by people going through real life situations that I couldn't help them. So I felt like, well, if I can't help you, I need to at least learn from it. So when I get to a place I can help people, I won't be shell shocked. So it looks like I was surrounded by people who were going through real life situations. Suicide. I had mentees that had parents deported overnight, you know, and they were in college trying to go to class, and they found out their parents were deported. Like it was random stuff that was happening, and I was like, either it's something I'm doing to attract all of this, I would say these hard lived experiences, or it's not a fault. It just may be an assignment. So instead of me assigning guilt to all this stuff I was seeing, I said, well, maybe I can handle it. Maybe it's one of those things where I might have been chosen to take care of it. I don't know. But as long as I didn't assume I was there to save anyone, I think that's what it was. One of the biggest things that I learned. A lot of people are not here to be changed or saved, but everybody's here to teach me. I'm going to say that again. Everybody is not here to be saved or changed by me, but everybody is here to teach me something. And even if you're not trying to teach me something, I can still learn from you if I know what I'm looking for and my heart is pure and my intentions are genuine. So what led me to what I got going on today, I saw entirely too much to act like we're not dealing with what we're dealing with. We're literally dealing with mental warfare, spiritual warfare, social warfare, political warfare. And honestly, I began to experience peace when I no longer lied to myself that we were at war. That's how I got here.
I heard that. Powerful. That's powerful. That is powerful. So as you guys saw, you've seen on the news what they passed the bill. So now we are celebrating another federal holiday with Juneteenth. And so I will say, I don't want to say embarrassed, but never knew anything about Juneteenth until about probably the mid 2000, I don't know, maybe 2005 or so. And being from South Carolina, I wasn't aware, about what Juneteenth was referenced to and anything about that. Went one particular weekend with Juneteenth back around 2005 or so. My husband, we went with a couple of friends and was from Alabama. And so he was like, you never heard of it? I was like, no, I mean, like, it's a big deal, And so we got there and started to understand what was happening. And so now that I noticed the last couple of years, it's been more present. Now I was paying attention. Asked my dad before he passed last year in October. I said, for me, like he said, girl, I'm about to be 7 years old. He said, I heard of it not too long ago. He said, but never really knew how important and the value about what they talk about and teaching on Juneteenth. So I said, well, we didn't grow up knowing anything about it. He said it wasn't, to us, it wasn't a big deal because nobody really was talking about it. But my husband being from Alabama, he said, well, I thought everybody knew about it. So was that something you guys, either one of you was aware about? Because I guess a lot of my cousins from the North was like, never heard of it. So now here we are going to be able to celebrate as of 2022. Next year is a federal holiday. So I was pretty excited about that. So do you have any insight about that?
Well, for me, I'm from South Carolina as well. I'm from Spartanburg. So it was probably about 6 years ago. We were in Charlotte, just going up there for the weekend because we stayed up there for about 7 years. So we was up there one weekend, and it was Juneteenth weekend, and they had like the whole festival going on right there off of Central Avenue in front of an African store. And I mean, we stood there and watched the dance, and just the whole festival that they were putting on. And that's kind of when I got hip to Juneteenth. It was probably about 2016. So it's still kind of fresh to me, but it's dear to my heart as well. So I'm still in the learning phases of it, but I'm glad we getting what we getting because we deserve it.
That, that's me.
I gotta.
I didn't know nothing. I'm not gonna be embarrassed because I just didn't know. I mean,
Yeah.
so I'm well, hey, kudos for us. We're moving in the right direction. I know we still have a long way to go, but there was something like you said. Hey, we're happy about something else that is for us. So,
Mhm.
what are you think on it, Mr. Pugh?
I would say that Juneteenth is a very, very important conversation starter. What a lot of people may not understand, it's a celebration, but the reason why it was a celebration is because people were still held in physical captivity after the Emancipation Proclamation.
Mhm.
So one of the things that we can, and one thing I don't do is tell people when to celebrate and why. If you want to celebrate anything, you have every right to do so. But when you start understanding exactly what we're doing, we do have a right to look at it at another perspective and educate each other on what it is. Because
Mhm.
sometimes we can start celebrating things without understanding the context. So I say, look, I rather I would love the balance between educate and celebrate. If we can do both, I would love to do that for everyone. Celebrate is great, but if you look at Juneteenth, that means people were still held in captivity because they didn't have Instagram and Twitter. And then just like they made an announcement, everybody didn't know. So you see how everybody caught on that it was Juneteenth, a national holiday. Now everybody know it at the same space, right? Think about in 1865 when people didn't know it. I don't know. I forgot which month emancipation. It was early that year, and all the way until June, they were had their labor exploited for several months because no one quote unquote told them. And remember, think about how many people were still held in captivity and had to wait till the army showed up to say let them leave.
Mm,
And so when we start celebrating something, what we're doing is celebrating the most egregious example of procrastination ever known to the human population. So I want us. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not looking down on it. I would never dare to look down on anything like that. But when you know, you know. You understand what I'm saying? And also too, for people that study the Constitution know that slavery was never abolished. It just transformed into the prison system. So we still have slavery. So when we start, and
right.
this is what a lot of people may not understand, as soon as they had the Emancipation Proclamation, they transferred directly into convict leasing
Yep.
in 1865. They just stopped calling it
Wow.
slavery and start calling them slaves and start calling them prisoners.
Yeah.
So the
Mm,
reason why you didn't know about it is because slavery is still happening right now.
Mhm.
Okay. Now I love celebrating those people who were released in Juneteenth because those people they have the reason to celebrate. But when I just like I
right.
said before, that celebration and education, if they match in the middle, yes, we're celebrating those people were released physically. But guess what? As soon as they were released off of that land, as soon as they walked, some of them got arrested for vagrancy and
Mhm.
loitering and put right back in the convict leasing system. And some of them and that same strategy is alive in 2021.
Yes, it
So
is.
celebrate and educate at the same time.
Mhm.
Yes. Do you deserve to be happy during your life? Yes. But do I want you to know exactly what's going on? Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. I can appreciate that. Like history about anything at all. I can perpetrate like I do because I don't. But like I said, a little bit I did gain, and then now you're sharing some more. And there was a guy on the news earlier said very similar to what you said. He's celebrating, but there's more behind it. Celebrate, you might want to be educated to know, why they did, how it unfolded the way it has. And I was like, okay, but it was just like a quick little breath. He didn't give nearly as much information as you had on that, but
My
okay,
ment- my
I'm
mentor my
definitely
mentor a long time ago said something very important to start with me, and I'll be brief. He said it's something about blind celebration. Never celebrate with your eyes closed.
Mm.
Celebrate and observe. You know what I'm saying? Like he was like celebrate and educate at the same time because if you're not learning, you're not celebrating.
That's right.
He said when you celebrate, that means you're being a better person. You're learning more information. You're growing. He said, "Be careful about celebration when you're not elevated. Celebration without elevation is slavery all over again."
Slavery. Love it. Love it. I might have to see that one. I love that. But I'm going to do my research on that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that. So, hey, I learned something else new today. But I appreciate that so much. But definitely, guys. So I'm trying to think, because I know both of you asked, "Do we have questions?" I said, "Well, no, because we talk, we have conversation, and then it may lead me to something else, or you may ask something else." But I thank you so much. I'm just trying to.
I got a question.
We're going to be wrapping. I want you to share and definitely your social media information, how you may be contacted, if you would give that. But I think somebody was asking something.
Yeah, if we're thinking of questions, I did have a question for Don, if that's permissible.
Oh, absolutely, yes, man. We're
Got you.
confident. We're cool.
Got you. So, Don, I had a question for you. One of the things that all the fathers that I've been around and the fathers that helped raise me, they always used to tell me what their children taught them. And a lot of people think that they're only there to teach the children. He's like, no, no, no. Fatherhood is also being the best student in the household, too. So,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask you, can you share some experiences where your children taught you more than you taught them?
Oh golly, how many stories could I tell? But I can think of one in particular. It was a conversation that my son and I was having after after the George Floyd incident, and he's typically the one that anytime the car move, he hopping in there to ride with me. And so this particular day, this was right after George Floyd, and I'm getting dressed to ride out, but he ain't moving, he ain't budging, he's staying in the house. So I asked him, I said, you ain't rolling with me today? He was like, no, Daddy, the police killing people when they go
Oh,
outside. He said, so I'm just gonna stay in the house and I pray for you, and that you get back safely. So I stopped what I was doing, man, and tears just began to come down my eyes
Hmm.
because at that moment it told me that when situations happen big like that, that there's a conversation that we need to have with our children because they process stuff on a different level than we do. Although we understand about all the particulars around that, but at this particular time, he was like 11. So I had to sit down to see how deeply was that affecting him, and how is he processing that. So the lesson that I learned is to begin to move around and ask my kid when big stuff happen, to ask my kids deeper questions, not just explain to them about what's going on, but really get their perspective on how did this affect you. And another thing that I do that teaches me is once a year I go around to all of my kids, from the one that's 33 all the way down to my son, and I ask them, how am I doing as a dad and how can I be better? So whatever feedback they give me is the lesson that I learned, so in them next 365 days I can be better. You know what I mean?
That's
So
real.
those are the lessons that my kids have taught me. Now I got 7 of them, so I don't know how much time we got. I can tell you a lot of stories, but that those are those are some of the most recent and the most impactful ones. Just because actually, man, me and my son, with last Father's Day, we did a podcast on called Like Father Like Son, and I actually let him share how he felt about the whole George Floyd thing, as well as I let him speak to the his peers on I let him speak to his peers and fathers on how young men feel and how much of an impact it is for a boy, a young man, to have his daddy in the house with him. Because mine wasn't there. He died when I was like 6 months. So just to hear him, and it was nothing. Uh, I didn't give him a script or anything like that. I asked him a question and I let him talk to the people. So that was another lesson that I learned, is that, man, hey, our children, even though, we tell children all the time, don't do what I do what I say, yada, 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 all that. But it's very important to allow them to have a voice in situations as well, because they see, they hear, they feel, they think, and it's important to allow them to have a voice to express themselves and not always tell them, sit down and listen to me.
You know what I got from that, and Pierre, I'm gonna let you go, but I need to tell you what I thought about. What you
All
just
right.
said is, because all of us hear that don't do as I do what I say, not as I do. I think
Yeah.
a powerful thing that I would take in the future is I would tell every child or every person I come into contact with, think about what I'm doing.
Hmm.
Don't just do what I say and not
Yeah.
as I do. No, think about every move that I make and
Yeah.
tell me what you think about it. Because
Yeah.
one of the things that do as I say, not as I do, there's no critical thinking process in that sentence.
That's right.
And that's what's destroying so many families. So one thing that you just taught me is anytime that I talk to a child, I will say, think about what I do and tell me
Hmm.
what you think and tell
Yeah.
me what you know and what you've learned. Instead
Hmm.
of agreeing and disagreeing with me, tell me what you think you just saw. And
Right.
let's have a conversation.
Yeah. They have a voice, because their perspective, they may see things differently than the way we do. So it's a twofold type thing. When we allow them to communicate back to us, like you said, what you saw, then that's also a teachable moment for us, that if their perspective wasn't in the right place, it's a coaching moment to help them to see it, exactly like it was, not so much how they perceived it, but also giving them a voice for them to know that, hey, I don't have to always sit back and shut up. I can express myself. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
I can agree because my parents definitely, my mom definitely would say she valued our voice. And so when I heard that years ago, I didn't, really think much of it. But as I got older, and she was saying your voice matters, your words matter. And
Yeah.
so down, of course, probably whatever they want to do, as far as they just want to eat and get up from the table. And she was saying, no, sit down. How was school today? Talk to me about what you learned, what happened, whatever. And my brother, one of them would be like, it wasn't no big deal. She said, well, no, tell me about it. And so she said, well, how did you feel about it? When he expressed that, she said, so it was a big deal because your feelings are valid. Your words are valid. So are
Mhm.
your feelings. And so she wanted us to share and allow us to talk. It wasn't that, just close your mouth and eat and do whatever. But they allow us to sit down and talk as a family. So I really embrace that. So my husband and I did the same thing with my girls. And of course, my mom would say each generation should get better. When you know better, you do better. Because in the beginning, she was one of the mom would say, don't do as I say, don't do as I say, don't question me. And so
Mhm.
my dad kind of scared somebody on that. Then it's like, no. So eventually it got better as we got older and she wanted to hear our voice, but she would always hear there's a fire inside of you. You're gonna be heard. You're gonna be heard. I don't care what everybody else is doing. Pierre wants to be heard. And so that's it because I'm and so people say she's so opinionated. Well, I am. I
Mhm.
have an opinion pretty much. And so definitely wanted to be educated. Thank you for that. But that is definitely because you can learn, you do learn. I learned from my girls, and they're 25 and 24. So yes,
Mhm.
I learned a lot from them. They're, oh, mommy, you so old school, and mommy, you got to come. And they're like, okay, well, teach me. And so certain
Mhm.
things, but I would be one of the ones to zip it when I'm talking. I want to be, don't talk over me. So I had to get to the point where I could speak. And LaVasia was saying, you talk, but then you're not listening. And so
Mhm.
I learned with raising my daughters, with us raising our daughters, um, as parents, we need to listen, because I would say, well, I asked a question, but by the time I finish, she's sitting over there looking like, you, never mind, because you're not going to let me explain. You're not listening. You're not listening. So I had to learn how to listen. That is something my daughters taught me. You got to listen
Mhm.
because you're speaking, but you say you're hearing me, but you're not listening. You're hearing me, but you're not listening.
Right.
So they definitely not just as fathers, but as mothers as well as parents. We can learn. It is a two-way situation, two-way street. We learn from our children. We can learn them, not just them learning from us. So thank you for asking that because that's really good. It helped me. It made me think about some things. Definitely. So if we don't have any more questions or comment, I definitely would like each one of you to share your social media and tell the people, the viewers, how they can reach reach out to you if they are looking for an amazing coach, mentor. Mr. Christopher Pugh and Don Williams are definitely two amazing coaches. So please get your pens and your papers, and they can give their social media handles and how you can locate them, reach out to them to possibly book for speaking engagements or whatever it may be. Please share with viewers and how they can do that.
All
All
right.
right.
Well, for me, I can be reached on Instagram at P7 Solutions. That's the letter P, the number 7, SOLUTIONS. On Facebook, you can reach me under Don Williams. And by email, if you're interested in any type of booking or speaking engagements, I can be reached at LCS1512 at yahoo.com. That's LCS as in Larry Charles Sam 1512 at yahoo.com.
And Mr. Christopher Pugh.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Dr. Marion Christopher Pugh. You can reach me at manhoodmindset.com. You can reach me on Instagram at Manhood Mindset, Twitter, Manhood Mindset again, and on Facebook under Christopher Pugh. You can email me directly at mchristopherpugh@gmail.com. I work with anyone with a heartbeat. So if you have any type of professional organization, any type of religious group, any type of school district or student organization, family members, family situations, I'm not only a professional speaker, but I'm also a professional listener. So anytime that you may have some things that you got going on and you feel like you may not be heard, and that's the reason why I was so glad that you all said that. But in order to be a professional speaker, which we always are, we were professional listeners first because we know what to talk about, and we wouldn't know what to talk about unless we listen first. So
That's
we are
it.
professional. We are professional listeners as well, and we will tell you exactly what we heard, and hopefully we can expose a problem that's been lingering in your life that you didn't know how to exactly look at, and then we can add some vision to the issue. So manhoodmindset.com, reach out to me directly. Women, children, men, elders, newborns, it don't matter. It don't matter. Anybody with a heartbeat can get the service. Now, I give you service or I give you space. I can't help everybody. If I can't serve you, I'm going to give you all the space you need.
I love it. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being on the platform. This has been very enlightening and very educational and very informative. You guys have really, really blessed my heart today, this evening. And I thank you for accepting and giving me your yes to be on the platform and giving, your audience and everyone your yes, not your yes. You get God your yes first, of course. But because there's so much that's needed out there, and we all have an assignment. And so I thank you for just how you're pouring out to the viewers. And so I pray that something was said that will change their lives tremendously, make them think and before they speak or even just listen, be a better listener. That is, I thank you all for joining, and so we are going to say good evening to everyone. Thanks for joining Table Talk with the Diva, and we are going to move forward. But thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in, coming to the table to hear Table Talk with Mr. Don and Christopher Pugh. So I wish you guys well and much success in everything that you do. So have a great evening.
Thank you.
All right.
Peace.
Thank you. Thank you.
It was a pleasure. You have a good night.
All right, y'all. See y'all later.
All right.
Peace.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Books, business, and accessories. She walks in favor and she's blessed indeed. She keeps her head and her heels high, and her limit soars beyond the sky. If it's purpose she's pushing, you tune in with Table Talk with the Diva. Why? Join in, it might free ya. Hey, hey. And if you feel it, don't come in. The enemy just won't win. But God's giving you vision, and in the end, you should win. Yeah. See you next week. Next week. Well, next month, actually. This is the last show for the month. Saluting Amazing Fathers.
And so thank you so much. Again, I am Kiara Collins, a diva with a destiny that is always excited and delighted about chasing after you. We'll see you next month. Take care.